This is KOAA News 5 Special Edition.
They gave us pretty much a home. We were facing homelessness.
It's a safe place for veterans.
I would tell my fellow brothers and sisters, this is the place to start.
A home for our heroes to grow.
Mount Carmel has so many different ways that they reach out. I think they've made a huge difference in the community.
This nonprofit ensuring their success as they transition out of the military. And hear stories of achievement, support, and how you can help as our special presentation starts now. Hello and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'm Rob Quirk along with Dianne Derby and Brie Groves. The Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center is more than just a building to local veterans. Inside these walls, they find a sense of community and family.
And today we are highlighting Mount Carmel's positive impact while hoping to raise money for their cause. And that's why we're placing a QR code on the bottom right of your screen. And you are more than welcome to scan it at any time during this program to make a donation. You can also visit veterancenter.org/donate. Again, that's veterancenter.org/donate. All the money raised will go directly to Mount Carmel as they support the veterans in southern Colorado.
Mount Carmel's mission to empower veterans critical and far-reaching. More than a quarter of all people living in El Paso County and surrounding communities are veterans. Data from the Census Bureau indicates 93,000 veterans live in El Paso County alone. More than 20,000 of them visited Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center last year, and through their partnerships, more than 32,000 veterans positively impacted by a Mount Carmel program here in southern Colorado. Mount Carmel here in Colorado Springs, an extension of the vision of Jay Cimino, president and CEO of Phil Long Dealerships, and his initial venture in his hometown of Trinidad, the Mount Carmel Health, Wellness, and Community Center. That same community concept now providing services for our most vulnerable veterans. The Pikes Peak region is home to tens of thousands of military veterans from all branches of service who realized how wonderful this community is while serving and now call it home. Bob McLaughlin retired as garrison commander on Fort Carson in 2014 and was approached by Jay Cimino prior to his retirement about the things he had helped implement on the mountain post to serve active duty soldiers and their families.
And he basically, gave me a challenge. He said, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to help people or do you want to go and seek your fortune? And I said, yes. And he said, you want to help people.
And there was a huge void in Colorado Springs when it came to providing transitional services for our veterans. And once again, Jay Cimino, the quintessential salesman, touched a nerve with Bob.
Well, it's all about resources, right? And even when I was serving, I often said it would be great to have something more substantial in the community that isn't about referrals, that's actually a place.
It's estimated the number of veterans and their family members who are in need of services provided by Mount Carmel has grown about 20% every year for essentially the last decade. Why? Nobody falls through the cracks. That is their mantra here, providing basic services like job placement, housing, financial assistance, and perhaps most important, behavioral health assistance.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of is we have amazing community partners that help us with services. Most of the great foundations in the community help out because I think they see the value.
And those community partnerships are key. Providing services comes at a financial cost, however, and for a nonprofit, that could be problematic. It was one of the initial concerns for McLaughlin, but once again, Jay Cimino calmed those fears, and his rationale makes sense.
And Jay said, from his business acumen, said, hey, look, don't worry about money. You focus on doing good work and the money will come.
This is a resource-driven operation which must constantly monitor the needs of the community and adjust and adapt. That's where Jim Hannon, chairman of the Mount Carmel Board of Directors, and the entire staff here comes in.
So yes, to some degree we are looking at Bob mostly provides these ideas of things that he wants to do, that he wants to expand the services here at Mount Carmel, and we'll talk about those as a board, and then we'll go through what the pros and cons are. Is this the right time to do that? Those kinds of things.
The VA itself is a very important partner. The ability to connect quickly and in one centrally located facility, that matters.
I think keeping very qualified military members and their families in the community can continue to make us stronger.
And Mount Carmel continues to grow with a new office in Pueblo, plans to expand beyond that to the San Luis Valley and other locations where there is a need across southern Colorado. So scan that QR code right now to ensure these valuable Mount Carmel programs continue for years to come. Now let's go to Dianne, who is standing at the Behavioral Health and Wellness Waiting Room inside Mount Carmel.
Thanks so much, Rob. When veterans in need of mental health support come to Mount Carmel, they're seen by people who understand the military culture. Many of the staff are veterans themselves and offer low-cost or no-cost confidential services. I spoke with one veteran who has used their services about the ways Mount Carmel is helping to change and save lives.
You don't have to think that just because your military service ended, that you have nothing left.
Retired Air Force Major Sean Sindler holds back tears as he talks about the often tough transition from military to civilian life.
You know, I didn't really know whether I would be successful in that transition, whether I would be happy in a new career, whether the wounds, so to speak, from my military service were going to continue for the rest of my life.
Some of those invisible wounds from combat.
I flew over the skies of Afghanistan and Iraq in the AWACS, as well as when I was enlisted, I was on the ground in Iraq as a communication person.
He originally came to Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center in need of free legal advice. Since then, he and his family have used many programs, including behavioral health.
They're holistically there for veterans.
Kirsten Belair is the director of behavioral health at Mount Carmel.
The military as a culture really doesn't focus so much on feelings and emotions.
She and her team focus on the mind, body, and spirit of every person who walks through their doors. That may mean traditional or alternative therapies.
We have no-cost retreats. We partner with equine therapy. We have Tai Chi, trauma-informed yoga, music jam, art expressions. We even have acupuncture downstairs. Like, we're going to try and do anything.
And she wants people to know they're ready to help.
We offer our services to active duty, Guard, Reserve, veterans, and veterans regardless of discharge status, era of service, or length of service, and their families. And families aren't just dependents. That can extend out to significant others.
It's life-saving work she knows is making a big difference.
I know that it's saving lives because we have people who come in who have daily or multiple times daily suicide ideation. They have plans, they have means, they have all of that. And then down the road, you're asking them, so have you had any suicide ideation? And they're like, nope, week after week.
That's why veterans like Sindler encourage anyone listening to make the choice to show up at Mount Carmel and ask for help.
That willingness to get help when you need it is really the thing that creates success stories.
Mount Carmel is also part of a veteran suicide prevention pilot program. It's called Next Chapter, and the services are free to veterans and their families. It includes things like substance use and relationship counseling, also crisis support. For more information, call 1-888-719-VETS. That's 1-888-719-VETS. My colleague, Brie joins us now from the food pantry, where she will explain how Mount Carmel puts your money to good use. Brie.
Well, thank you, Diane. And Mount Carmel does make sure that every veteran counts, and that means that every dollar counts. So for every dollar given to Mount Carmel, $2 worth of goods and services are provided to our veterans. And here's how far $50 can go. It affords one gas gift card or 28 single-ride bus tickets. $50 also buys one meal for a family of 4 on Thanksgiving or Christmas. It also provides an alternative therapy experience for up to 7 veterans. $50 purchases 6 months of materials for resume classes for more than 80 veterans. All good reasons to go ahead and scan that QR code on the bottom right of your screen there. No matter how big or small, every dollar counts. Rob.
Thanks, Brie. Mount Carmel helped more than 1,000 veterans successfully transition into civilian life last year. Coming up, what local veterans are doing to sharpen their job skills, and how Mount Carmel is connecting them with future employers here in the Pikes Peak region. Please stay with us.
Shields has a long history of supporting our military veterans and first responders, starting with the Shields family going back decades. We are proud to partner with national and local organizations in their efforts to aid and support veterans. Colorado Springs has been a great area to recruit and interview candidates from military branches. Shields is an equal opportunity employer. Since beginning our hiring process in 2020 for the Colorado Springs market, we have interviewed hundreds of military veterans and currently have dozens of them still working for Shields in Colorado Springs today. We understand the transition that comes with military service to civilian service and empower these new associates with consistent training of product knowledge and skills they need to make them successful in their new career. We offer a work environment that is respectful and fosters stability and growth from the hard work and patience that associates demonstrate through their ownership of their job.
Transitioning back into civilian life is sometimes easier said than done for our veterans. For many, being an active duty member, that was their identity. Mount Carmel is here to help in countless ways with this life change. And right now they are coming alongside Army veteran Michael Lawrence, who is in the midst of overcoming obstacles to reach his life goal.
I just need a job. I need to not be broke. I need to not be a statistic of a veteran.
After 4 years of active duty, the job had taken its toll on Michael's body and mind as a military police officer in the Army.
And that's what you get paid to do, and this is what you're going to be. But you don't have you.
No, I don't even know what me fully looks like right now.
A feeling not unfamiliar to many of the 250,000 service members that transition to civilian life each year. Leaving was not an easy decision for Michael, and shortly after doing so, while out celebrating his birthday, Michael was shot in the lower back.
And then you get out and then you go through the stress of such a traumatic incident.
Definitely. I didn't understand that my civilian life would be harder than my military life. Military life, I was like, man, I'm being persecuted. I'm working these long hours. I'm getting frustrated. No one even really effing cares. And then I got out, and now it feels like people care, but the people who do care, they don't have enough resources to care.
And that's when Michael turned to Mount Carmel.
And we can do things like help them get their resumes squared away, whether it's a civilian or a federal one. A lot of them haven't interviewed in quite a long time, so we'll do mock interviews with them.
From bringing in local companies for those mock interviews to networking events, job fairs, and one-on-one assistance, the goal at Mount Carmel is to help our veterans free of cost.
Some of these networking events help with because they are meeting, people out there in industries, other veterans that are in that process of making that shift out of the military, guys like myself who have already done it.
Leaving the military can be one of the hardest life changes. In addition to cost of living increases and a highly competitive job market, veterans face military-specific challenges, like translating their experience to civilian employers.
As an example, we've had guys shift into the entertainment industry, so then it's that complete 180 on what they're actually doing, but those skills do transfer.
I'm figuring things out piece by piece. Mount Carmel has been very helpful with that.
And after taking a few routes while searching for his passion, Michael has landed in IT and has big goals to one day take his skills all the way to the Pentagon.
Mount Carmel has helped more than 4,000 veterans and their spouses find a job. The services come at no cost. For more information, call Mount Carmel at 719-772-7000 or go to KOAA.com, and we also have all the details right there. And Dianne, Mount Carmel stands with all veterans, and that's why it's important, if people can, to open their hearts and wallets to continue helping our heroes.
And it's so easy to give, Brie. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now with your phone's camera if you would like to donate. Recently, Mount Carmel held the Stand Down event. They helped hundreds of local veterans who find themselves without a home. Our Bill Folsom shows us how volunteers are keeping them warm.
There are all kinds of services being offered to our homeless veterans. So many, it fills the city auditorium. From coats to counseling, any help that they need.
Any help is appreciated when you're broke and homeless.
Doug Glaza says he's been homeless for close to 4 years. The Air Force veteran feels encouraged by the Stand Down event sponsored by the Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center.
It's a brotherhood. Yeah. And there's a lot of great people here. Can't thank them enough.
It doesn't matter what the exterior looks like. They're very humble people. They appreciate the help, and again, they came before me, and it's my responsibility to lift others.
There are more volunteers than guests. Most of the volunteers are either active military or veterans.
You can retire, but that camaraderie piece, you're always going to feel connected to a military member.
That military connection helps. In the military, there is structure and support from others serving side by side.
Now they're on their own and they don't necessarily have all those services or those support systems around them. And so that's when a lot of times they can fall into the homelessness.
Give them an opportunity to survive and maybe even thrive.
The stand down helps with day-to-day needs like winter clothing, something to eat, and a chance to get cleaned up. For long-term, medical checks and Office of Counseling help with options for breaking the homeless cycle.
An opportunity to come off the street, meet with agencies that can help them out, and gives the agencies an opportunity to ask, what can we do to help you out?
As many as 10 at the event who are motivated and qualify will have the opportunity for admission to a transitional housing initiative sponsored by UC Health.
They will be asked, what is it you need to help you up from homelessness? We're not going to presume we know, so we're going to ask them.
They go immediately into 30 days of paid-for housing. While there, they are connected to target support programs that will continue for a year.
It's a structural approach rather than a Band-Aid approach. And our hope is at the end of the year, those veterans and families selected today will be in permanent housing, have access to appropriate care, and moved or have been lifted up out of those circumstances that resulted in their homelessness in the first place.
For some, there are coats and gloves that will help them get through the day-to-day. Others are making connections for long-term solutions to get them out of homelessness. In Colorado Springs, Bill Folsom, News 5.
Coming up, succeeding in the world of business, how Mount Carmel is training our veterans to become strong entrepreneurs. We'll be right back.
Shields has a long history of supporting our military veterans and first responders, starting with the Shields family going back decades. We are proud to partner with national and local organizations in their efforts to aid and support veterans. Colorado Springs has been a great area to recruit and interview candidates from military branches.
One of our core values here at Shields is that we do good in our community. We are fortunate to live in a strong military community and have an incredible opportunity to support numerous military nonprofits like Mount Carmel.
We offer a work environment that is respectful and fosters stability and growth from the hard work and patience that associates demonstrate through their ownership of their job. Shields is an equal opportunity employer. Since beginning our hiring process in 2020 for the Colorado Springs market, we have interviewed hundreds of military veterans and currently have dozens of them still working for Shields in Colorado Springs today.
Many of our associates have a connection to the military through personal service or having a loved one who has served.
We understand the transition that comes with military service to civilian service and empower these new associates with consistent training of product knowledge and skills they need to make them successful in their new career.
It is important to us to support organizations that can be resources to them now and in the future.
We offer a work environment that fosters respect and from stability and growth demonstrates patience and hard work from the hard work of our associates in the ownership of their job.
Welcome back. One of the most critical components of the Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center is the Veterans Business Outreach Center, or VBOC program, run in conjunction with the Federal Small Business Administration. It's designed to help our veterans either start their own business or transition to a new skill here in the Pikes Peak region. Boots to business. That's what VBOC is all about. Hiring our local veterans to do any number of jobs to enhance skills they already have or learn a new one.
I think it's great. It gives you the opportunity to see what's outside the military.
This group of workers are employed by Matt Green, who owns and runs Mavericks Construction, a small general contractor in the Springs. Matt, an Air Force veteran himself, is a strong advocate of what he calls multi-abled veterans still serving America.
I don't honestly think I would still be in business today if not for those resources that are here.
Green started his business just as Mount Carmel was ramping up its program locally and didn't have access to all the great programs that are now available. As a novice entrepreneur, he says he didn't know what he didn't know and he made mistakes.
And so if I had had something like the robust Boots to Business class and all the other things that are now available through the VBOC and some of the other organizations that are out there, I would not have made those same mistakes.
So everybody wants to get to that break-even point.
This is what Matt is talking about, the Boots to Business Seminar, a classroom setting for veterans looking to start a new business or, at the very least, learn if that is something they are cut out for.
We've had some service members say, business ownership isn't for me. Right. We've had some say, I would love to do this. I've been working on my business plan as I've been going through my transition. I'm ready to go.
Once the transitioning veterans have taken in all that courses offer and decide to move forward with a startup, the program offers one-on-one counseling, business counseling, training seminars, connecting with local service providers. And with some 400 men and women transitioning out of our local military installations every month, the need is there.
It's just critical so that they know the resources are there. We can connect them, we can guide them, we can encourage them.
And for employers like Matt Green, he takes that encouragement and training that Mount Carmel offers and runs with it. Proud to be hiring veterans for two reasons. One, the difficulty for so many to make the transition.
The other is the dire state of our construction-related workforce. We have a lot of retiring tradespersons, and there's not nearly enough of the younger generation stepping up to take their place.
And Matt is proud, as so many local businesses are, to be hiring veterans, giving them a hand up, integrating them into a community that relishes the sacrifice of our veterans and the unique skill set they bring to private business in the Pikes Peak region. And one of the big takeaways from my interviews with the staff here at Mount Carmel, as many people as they continue to serve on a monthly basis, well, they continue to work at trying to get their message out to more of our local veterans. So many vets still unaware of what services Mount Carmel provides beyond business startups, and they're here to help. We'll be right back.
Shields has a long history of supporting our military veterans and first responders, starting with the Shields family going back decades.
Any organization that provides support services to veterans after they're out is huge. And I'm super happy that Shields supports veterans here, if nothing else with a monetary discount on products.
The culture here at Shields is, people take pride in what they do, the pride, ownership, and execution. Veterans fit right in, and associates fit right in with veterans.
It's hard for the veterans to take that first step to reach out and ask for that help, but having those resources out there makes a world of difference. And just knowing that there are people out there and you're not alone, I think is a huge thing for vets to understand.
I've never been recognized as much as a veteran than I have by the Shields company. To me, that means a lot, that means an awful lot, so I really appreciate that.
The more I work, I actually admire the way they take care of employees, just like they take care of their customers.
Right out of the gate, the Shields has been so welcoming, just amazing folks.
Shields is fantastic to work for. As a whole, they treat their veterans, along with all their associates, fantastic. I've had nothing but great experiences here at Shields.
A lot of veterans in this community, some of those veterans are struggling, so just having an organization like Mount Carmel really helps out. Really brings a quality of life to some of those folks that they wouldn't get otherwise, so I appreciate it.
I feel very confident to say that many veterans' lives have been saved through these kinds of programs and that kind of stuff where they feel they can reach out and have somebody in their corner.
Shields as a company shares a lot of the same values that the military has.
It is important to us to support organizations that can be resources to them now and in the future.
We offer a work environment that fosters respect, and from stability and growth, demonstrates patience and hard work from the hard work of our associates and the ownership of their job.
Welcome back to our special program, United for Veterans, Mount Carmel Day of Giving.
Mount Carmel has supported thousands of veterans in El Paso County, but their reach goes far beyond that. And with locations in Pueblo, Trinidad, and soon to be West Cliff, Mount Carmel is making sure that veterans in rural communities are not left behind. Devin Karp has our story.
They came through with flying colors. I appreciate them so much you can't believe.
Veteran Leroy Myers has lived in Pueblo County since he was 9 years old. That's where he and his wife Pearl decided to settle down. But when she developed multiple sclerosis, he couldn't find the help he needed.
I tried to get other services. It didn't work out. I never even heard of Mount Carmel. They're not publicized near as much as I think they should be.
After reaching out to Mount Carmel, they were able to build this ramp in front of his house, giving him access to the community he fell in love with.
Why is it important to service veterans all around the state, not just big cities?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of our greatest accomplishments is to expand in rural Colorado.
Director for Rural Services at Mount Carmel, Sal Katz, says they're working to reach out to veterans in smaller rural communities. They're expanding to Westcliff and are collaborating with governments in smaller counties to reach more veterans.
But we know that there are lots of veterans in these rural counties that don't want to come in and drive 2, 3, 4 hours for services, but we want to make sure that Mount Carmel reaches them.
From food services to rent assistance and help with mental health through their Next Chapter program, where a qualified veteran is on the other phone line.
I would love to talk to a counselor, but a counselor or psychiatrist may not be a veteran and may or may not understand me.
Something Leroy wants to see other veterans like him do.
Just do it. Give them a call. It don't hurt. It can help a bunch.
In Pueblo, I'm Devin Karp, News 5.
Veterans who have received help from Mount Carmel say their lives changed for the better.
And whether it's receiving mental help or learning the necessary knowledge to start a business, veterans are grateful to have these resources in our community.
And we sat down with 3 local veterans who leaned on Mount Carmel at one point in their lives. They tell us what it meant to them.
Honestly, I would have been sleeping in the back of my truck if it wasn't for Mount Carmel.
Our therapist is also a veteran who also uses Mount Carmel as a service back in the day, and he told us about this.
Don't feel like you're going through it alone. There's a lot of resources here that could get everybody on the right path.
Some time to actually realize that I needed that.
Whether it's just to talk to somebody and talk things through. I call here all the time and talk to these guys about certain things that I'm looking for or might need assistance with.
I call the case managers that I deal with like my veteran guardian angels because they're awesome.
These veterans served our country with courage and without hesitation. And some of them, well, they're still making sacrifices to this day.
As a community, we can all help make sure no veteran feels alone or left behind. That's why every donation counts, no matter how big or small.
And donating is simple. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. You can also visit veterancenter.org/donate. Again, veterancenter.org/donate. Please consider making your gift a recurring one to ensure local veterans continue to receive the critical help they need.
And all of the money raised is going to go directly to Mount Carmel. So please donate today. And if you cannot give money, you also have the option of donating some of your time.
Mount Carmel is always looking for volunteers. And if you're interested, the donation page has a section where you can fill out a form. Staff with Mount Carmel will then contact you with volunteer opportunities.
Before we go, we'd like to thank all of you who have served our country.
With respect, honor, and gratitude, thank you for sacrificing so much to keep our country free.
And if you are a veteran in need of support or family, call Mount Carmel at 719-772-7000 or visit their website. It will change your life for the better, and you will meet some new friends along the way.
Thank you so much for watching our special presentation. Happy Thanksgiving.